In this example, I'm just going to quickly go over how to use map, which is a really powerful function in processing. And map allows you to take a set range of values and reapply it to a new range of values. So in this example, I have a circle that is being drawn to the screen 10 different times, and it starts out at x50, x being width divided by 2, and the y is 50 right here, and then each time it moves down by 75 pixels until it gets to the very end. And what I want to do is color these on a scale from black to white. So I want to do this in an increasing value. But rather than assigning a specific value to each one, what I can do is use map to change the range. So the range right now is on a scale of I, because they're moving each time inside here down the scale. So it starts out at 0 and ends up at 9, because it'll never reach 10 because I will only be equal to 9 and then stop. So what I can do is create a new variable, and I'm going to use this as a fill color. So I'm going to say float, because maps are decimal places, so they always have to be floats. Float COL for color. Color is a built-in variable, and you see how it changes to orange, so I don't want to use the word color. COL, and I'm going to write map, and it takes 5 values. The first value is the variable that you're using as you're telling it what to look at. What is the thing that's changing? The second one is the minimum of the original range. So it starts out at 0, and the last number it'll go to is 9. And then, so this is the old range, and now you need to give it a new range. So my new range is going to be 0 to 255. So it'll start out at black, which maybe we don't want to start to black, but for right now I'm going to keep this and go all the way to white. And now I'm going to replace the fill with COL. Let's see what happens. So you see now it's increasing from totally black all the way up to white. But maybe I want this one to start with a little bit of color. So I'm going to start with it at 10, just so we can see just the faintest outline. And now we can barely see it on the screen. So it's going to start out and increase in a scale from here. If you wanted to start out a little bit later, so you wanted to only have a range between 100 to 255, you could do that. And now you see it starts out here. You could use this as multiple different ranges. You could use it for opacity. You could use it for position. So for example, in here, I'm going to change this back to 0. Here, if I wanted to say, use the value of I to change the Y position, I'm going to comment this out and say float Y equals map I. So we have I as the variable that changes, and then we're going to change this to our old scale, which is 0 to 9. And then we're going to start out at position 50, so that way it touches the top edge, and then go to height minus 50. So that way it is just before the edge there. And when you run this, and I still have mover turned on. So I can actually get rid of mover here and rerun this. And now you see I've got spacing based on our elements here. It's starting at position 50 and going all the way down. And this one, I'm just going to make this one 50 just so it stands out a little bit. So it was offset from the edge there equally. So you can use map in really interesting ways. In the example I provided for you here, you can see I'm using map to map the scale of the mood in terms of color. And when I press play, you'll see it changes the range of color from greens to this blue, and I'm using it inside this fill statement. I think I've already initialized color as a float at the very top, so it starts out at 0. So these are ways that you can use map, and you should definitely try out using it in your sketches.